One of radio's most important functions in climate change advocacy is disaster preparedness. In flood-prone areas like Bayelsa, Lagos, and Niger states, community radio stations provide early warnings about impending storms and heavy rains. With climate change causing more frequent and intense weather events, this timely update saves lives, helping residents evacuate and take precautions before disaster strikes. Beyond warnings, radio has been key in promoting sustainable practices. Farmers rely on agricultural radio programs for updates on climate-friendly techniques like crop rotation, organic fertilizers, and water conservation. Shows like Green Nigeria and Eco-Friendly Living have helped citizens embrace waste management, tree planting, and eco-conscious lifestyles. Climate change is not just a scientific issue, it's a human issue. Radio has given a platform to activists, fishers, fishermen, and local communities who bear the brunt of its effect. Through call-in programs and on-ground reports, radio ensures that the voices of those most affected are heard. From the erosion crisis in Anambra to desertification in the north, radio tells the real stories behind the climate crisis, pushing for action from both the government and individuals. With the rise of internet radio and podcasts, climate conversations are reaching even more audiences. Nigerian stations are now collaborating with international environmental organizations, amplifying local climate issues to the global stage. Social media integration also allows stations to engage young people, ensuring that climate advocacy remains a trending and urgent discussion. Now, as we celebrate World Radio Day, let's acknowledge the role of radio in tackling climate change, educating, warning, and inspiring action. And to you, our dear listener, what steps are you taking to protect our planet? Join the conversation. I am Sharon Mandor, and this has been a special edition of World Radio Day on The Melting Point on Memories 96.5 FM. Stay tuned for more insightful discussions. Once again, welcome to The Melting Point, where we break down the most pressing political developments shaping our state and nation. I am Sharon Mandor, and today we turn our focus to Governor Umoino's new cabinet nominees. 33 days after dissolving his foundation cabinet, the governor has forwarded 27 names to the State House of Assembly for confirmation. Among them are 9 returning commissioners and several fresh faces. But what does this mean for governance in Akwa Ibom? Is this a case of continuity, or is the governor charting a new course? Joining me to analyze this development is the president and founder of Open Forum, Citizen Matthew Kofi O'Connor, a seasoned public affairs analyst also. Together we will explore the implications of this appointment and what they signal for the administration's agenda. Good morning to you, Citizen MPA.
Thank you so very much, Sharon. Good morning, and good morning, fellow citizens and humanity, wherever you're watching us or hearing us from.
Good morning to you.
Thank you so much.
All right, before we dive into the conversation, I'd like to know, because it's World Radio Day, and I already said I was going to anybody that I interview on this radio today, you tell me what you love the most about radio. What has radio taught you so far? What have you learned from radio so far? And, what you admire most about radio?
I want to say that I don't know what my life, I don't know what my service to humanity, my fulfilling my purpose and calling in life would have been like without radio. As a child, I loved radio. And while growing up, I made listening to conversations part of me with radio and TV. But for radio now, which I decided to also have my slot. Even where I didn't have resources, I bent over backwards. I do almost what may be considered impossible to be on radio because it has a very wide reach. And one of the people or ethnic group globally that know the value of radios are the Fulanis. As illiterate as they may be, the world has recognized them for who they are. And a number of international stations, they don't just broadcast in English, they do special language service that serves these persons who are most often in the forest. But they are more informed than people, a number of persons in the cities. So radio plays a very vital role, and anybody that wants to play down on the impact of radio, that person has been left behind. And thank God we are here in memories, like the slogan is, always memorable. I'm telling you, so I'm a beneficiary of whoever invented radio and those that have made it to work. And in Akwa Ibom State, we have a number of radio stations, which I've also been privileged to have been on virtually 90% of the stations in the state. So I can say my life would not be complete without being on radio. That's why I have done everything possible, not just to be invited like this to do a freelance, sharing my thoughts as an analyst and solutionist, but I also have my airtime that I can develop my content and do the kind of things that I feel will impact society positively. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Citizen.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the list. Of course, you already know my first question, which is your thoughts on this.
I know.
Before I even get there, this list had 9 immediate past commissioners. They made the list. Professor Enoibanga, the Works and Fire Service Commissioner, Ini Wong, Information and Strategy, Bob, Economic Development, Mrs. Ofyong of Agriculture, Frank Achibong, Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, in which you have been, should I use the word agitating for? If the local government autonomy is going to hold, then why do we still have the local government and chieftaincy affairs office? We also have Linus Nkan from Finance, Captain Inyobong Ekong, retired land, Uko Esien Udong SAN from Justice, General Koko Esien, retired Internal Security and Waterways, and General Esien was the only commissioner directly appointed by Governor Enoch before the cabinet dissolution. And they had a number of fresh faces also. But what were your thoughts when you saw this list?
The list was long awaited, not just because His Excellency finally dissolved the cabinet, but because right from when His Excellency won election, he inherited 100% of the commissioners from the previous administration of Mr. Udom Emmanuel, and that in itself was a shocker. That in itself, I'm not sure how comfortable the governor was, but because he made a statement, he said he had promised them that having been with them in the trenches and becoming the governor, he was going to go with them, but he gave them a warning that if they do not perform, they will hear their name in the 4 o'clock news. I have the exact quotes, and then people were just speculating. This reward system cannot bring result. Because for those that followed the last administration and a number of things that transpired, they have rated that very crop of commissioners as possibly the most unproductive in the history of the state. A number of factors were responsible, and that can be defended. So people just saying that, oh, they're just for 3 months, and they'll give them soft landing. Some will say 6 months, and some were just so sure it can never be more than 1 year. And here we were going to almost 2 years, and within that period, His Excellency himself was so uncomfortable enough that on the 15th day of September 2024, he dropped a bomb in a church where the commissioners and his aides were there. He said, I don't trust any of you. And he said more things. He was going to appoint delivery advisors to help him deliver. And a press conference was called by the chief press secretary. All the media aides were there. Even the chairman of AUJ was there, where it was said that there are fifth columnists in the administration who are undermining the administration, that they should desist, otherwise they are going to be named. And we're talking about cabinet members, not PAs. The governor was so bitter, he repeated again that we couldn't perform, the budget could not perform beyond 26.9% in the third quarter because the kind of memos you should get were not forthcoming. It was not enough. The secretary to the state government made a press statement where he warned every appointee who have been abstaining from the governor's official assignments to desist. Otherwise, they will be dealt with. Because some of them were in the habit of going to receive the former governor at the airport when he comes. You see commissioners, you see SSAs going to line up at Victor Atta International Airport to receive Mr. Udom Emmanuel. It was strange. Such a thing has never happened in the history of the state. So, but most people that are on media doing hypings are mostly government appointees. So some of those issues His Excellency was raising, they didn't talk about it. It didn't mean anything to them because possibly they were the ones involved and they don't care because some of them knew how they came and some of them believe that nothing can touch them because they have become territorial lords. They have become, they have immunity. But for us who are analysts and for us who which His Excellency were, we were quite disturbed. A king cannot complain and his aides don't produce result. A king cannot drop a word and the next 24 hours or 48 hours or 72 hours, there's no follow-up to it with the necessary action. Just like their happy hour. Exactly made that pronouncement on March 16, 2023 during campaigns. Though people like us, I said it's impossible to implement subsidizing drinks because it was very categorical on what happy hour was going to be. And that moment I said, no, it was a wrong one, but it can be worked on, which we, as Open Forum, we worked on, and we still have more plans of what we can do that will make happy hour one of the most talked about things in Nigeria. So the long and short has to do with the fact that His Excellency did not have the cabinet that he would have loved to. But because of political experiences, he had to do what he did, and that did not quite end well, no matter what anybody will say, because he who feels it knows it. We that are patriots, we feel it, we know it. His Excellency that came with plans, he definitely knows that he was not able to deliver on that very plan that he had hoped he was going to drop for Akwa Ibom State. And interestingly, after being able to send the cabinet packing, some things happened. But before I go to the things that happened having to do with the analysis of the list, I want to share with us what this day newspaper, I think of 3rd July 2024, wrote about His Excellency, still having to do with being a man of his own. The title was Governor Eno Gradually Becoming His Own Man. It's published on thisdaylife.com. It goes to say, progeny is the way of natural life. One paves the path for another, eventually creating a link of stability and succession, resulting in positive and anticipated changes. This is what is currently happening in Akwa Ibom State, with Governor Pastor Omo Eno gradually emerging from the shadows of his predecessor, Udom Emmanuel. Before now, critics perceived Eno as solely following in the footsteps of his predecessor, adhering to a familiar template of governance. But the perspective is changing. Eno has started to chart his own course, infusing his unique personality into his work. This is exemplified by Eno's kindness and compassion. I hope you are hearing me. Which manifested through initiatives like the Free Food Program. The program is the latest, best evidence that Eno has stepped out of the shadow of Emmanuel and emerged as his own man. More importantly, he is now demonstrating a commitment to serving the expectant people of Akwa Ibom with sincerity and dedication, earning the trust and admiration of his constituents. The coming years will undoubtedly be kind to Eno as he continues to lead with integrity and compassion. His people will likely grow closer to him, loving him for who he is to them rather than who introduced him to them. That is this day. The same newspaper house that gave award as best governor of the year. You don't take this lightly. There was no counter statement by anybody, either aide or even critic, to say, you can't say that. Why? Because of the kindness and compassion that His Excellency has brought to governance, which was lacking. It was obvious. This town, the state, was flooded with tears of people that were oppressed. People that just desired attention, not money. Please hear me out. I'm crushed here. I'm being oppressed there. I'm being owed here. It was like there was no governance. So this day from far off noticed this and made this piece that I had to take except. It is there online for anybody who cares to want to take a look at. So what are we talking about? His Excellency has undoubtedly done something differently. Yes, he has not arrived, but he has tried, because until we know that being a governor is not something that everybody should yearn to be. Why? The problem of the entire state is on you. But because the mentality of people in public office is the access to power, access to the treasury, what that matters is accumulation of wealth. You take what belongs to the lame, the blind, you take what belongs to the widow, to the orphan, and you make it your own. Who does such a thing and feels he will go unpunished? Who does such a thing and feels he will be able to breathe normal? And then he will leave, he has left a legacy. So, it's challenging, but life is about challenges and about solving challenges. So, thank God that His Excellency has been able to come up with a list, which for me, I must say this, is like the first list, that's the first appointees. Because trying to look at it as a critical thinker, he lost about 20 months of his administration.
Are you saying that they didn't work?
The delivery, if we are to look at, want to give the percentage, the 2024 budget implementation, which was the full budget, will tell you what the delivery was. A budget of 900 and something billion, about 800 and something billion or thereabout, a 2024 budget, with the whole monies running into almost 600 billion was sitting in the coffers. His Excellency said we were only able to spend 200 and something billion. And when he had the ministerial briefing, he was very categorical. That people are saying you don't release money, no releases. Why will I release money? What were you able to bring that will attract release of money? Is it like one media person said in a chat he had in Lagos? He said what they bring is memos for seminars and conferences. Whereas this money, the governor said he's holding in trust for the people. It's for capital projects, so he cannot. So you people like bad wives, the young one, you be complaining. He said so in Ibibio. And you have 7 children here, you don't want to go. You are still complaining, you know. So there was so much wrong. No matter how anybody wants to embellish it for political reasons, we wouldn't blink to that. We wouldn't look at that direction at all. So this is His Excellency's first appointment. So you can as well say there's nothing wrong in picking some of the old hands to form the new cabinet. It's very rare, even under Bongota and Godswill Akpabio, that there was acrimony through the campaigns to the election. I think about 1 or 2 or so commissioners from then made to the cabinet. Even Atta's brother was made a commissioner, even though he was later sent out unceremoniously. So it's not wrong to inherit some members of the cabinet. So that is what has happened. But then, who are the people that have been inherited? If you want results, I've been busy looking for a quote by, I think, Theodore Roosevelt. He talked about a leader picking his team. You must be able to pick the kind of team you're ready to work with, and you must be able to allow them also to work. Otherwise, you don't have a team, you know. So you look at some of the ministries. But before I go to looking at them, some of them in detail, I want to give us a breakdown, which I'm sure you know, but for the purpose of this discussion, that there are 10 federal constituencies in Akwa Ibom State. And the commissioners are picked from there. Uyo has 4 federal constituencies, and they were given 4 commissioners. At least 4 slots. I don't know who is going to be special advisor, but whether special advisor or commissioner, they are at the same level. They are members of the Stedesco. We have a Kodekpene federal constituency with 4 local government areas, and they have just 2 slots, which is 50%. Uyo has 100%. We have a 2 federal constituency with 2 local government areas, and they have 2 commissioners, 100%. You have Oron federal constituency with 5 local government areas, and they have just 2 slots, which is just 40%. You now have a Tinam federal constituency with 3 local government areas and 3 slots. You have 100%. Abak federal constituency has 3 local government areas, and they have 3 slots, 100%. Eket federal constituency has 4 local government areas, but guess what? They have 5 slots, which means one of the local government areas has 2 commissioners or members of the Stedesco. And when you look through the list, you will see that the former commissioner for local government and community affairs, Achibong, Frank Achibong, is from Eket, has been returned. And then Mr. Paul Bassi is said to be from Eket, has also been added. So Eket has, should we call it 110% or 100 or 2?
We do have have a number of people that have mentioned that, okay, certain local governments were not represented.
I'm coming to that.
But there are also people that have said
yes.
that the list was entirely up to him to actually bring out.
It
was his prerogative.
We'll come to that. So Eket has more than 100%. While Ikorobasi Federal Constituency that has 3 local government areas has 2 slots, which is 67.7%. And then Ikono Ini Federal Constituency has 2 local government areas and they have 2 slots, 100%. Let's go back to Ikorobasi Federal Constituency with 3 local government areas and 2 slots. Interestingly, the local government area that does not have a commissioner is Eastern Obolo, having to do with Ikorobasi Federal Constituency. I've always been an advocate for justice and fairness. There is a statement by Desmond Tutu. He said, "We are all human beings, and we must treat each other with dignity and respect, regardless of our tribes or ethnic backgrounds." So, why am I bringing this in? Eastern Obolo, particularly that coastal area, Eastern Obolo and Ibono, who by virtue of their backgrounds are Obolos. You cannot deny people who they are, but they are Akwa Ibomites. And the level of development in that sector calls for concern. It's only people that have not been there, or people who are ignorant of where we can say this is the road to where we get resources for the state, or what sort of investment is going on there. Sharon, the level of investment going on in Eastern Obolo with the oil and gas company with fertilizer plants going on there, huge investment. So, who from Eastern Obolo is in the government who will be able to be the link between His Excellency and the people, which, however, has not even been the case, because in the case of Nseretai, for example, we've had commissioners repeatedly, but no matter, even if they kill everybody in Nseretai, the governor then would never care to say, "Commissioner, what's happening in your local government?" Or even the commissioner to say, "Oh, Your Excellency, something is happening. Please, how can we handle this? This is beyond me." They don't care. So, despite the fact that there are cases like that, I'm mentioning that because I'm from there, and this story will be told and documented for posterity, that you can have people in the state EXCO who should be able to help the governor, or the governor should demand, EXCO member, what is going on in your constituency? Even the house members. And they will just be going there, they don't care. But for us who believe in result, we want to say, if Eket should have 2, why should some local governments not even have 1? So how can we solve this? The solution, since the earlier proposal we made has not been taken into consideration. And what was that proposal? The proposal was that during the COVID, we saw what it means for a people to be caged, for government not to have access to enough resources. And the then governor set up the Akpanekpo Post-COVID Economic Reconstruction Committee, which was not meant for that period alone. It was meant to give Akwa Ibom State the roadmap on how we can cut cost of governance in order to maximize impact on citizens. That committee was headed by distinguished Professor Akpan Hoganekpo, one of the best minds we have in this country and even beyond. That report was gotten and dumped in the shelf, if it was not even shredded, not implemented. And those people, all the committee members, are alive. I hosted the secretary here, Professor Emmanuel Onwudokat. I brought him on open forums with MKO and asked, "What happened to your report?" And the man just threw up his hands in the air. So, if we cannot cut costs by reducing the number of ministries, merging some agencies to see how we can make more monies available to treat matters that concerns people, which His Excellency Pastor Mono is so passionate about, we want to create more ministries like it's been done. We have more commissioners now. From what I've seen, 27 of them so far. I think this should be the highest in the history of the state. So, what will be the way forward to cure the malady where some local governments are disenfranchised, and that repeatedly. The solution is to adopt what happens at the national level, federal character principle. We need to have state character. Same should even also apply in the House of Assembly, because you cannot have local government areas meshed to have a state constituency. For what? We need to make that demands. So, for the EXCO, I am advocating again and again that there should be the state character principle. Expand the EXCO. Let every local government area have a representative. Where will you have money? You're talking about cutting cost of governance. Yes, we'll have the money. Why? A number of SAs and SSAs appointed are jobless. Some of them that even have job descriptions, they don't know how to deliver. They don't even know what to do with it.
Okay.
So, if you cut down the size of these SSAs and SAs and the number of people that are appointed just for political reasons, you will be able to address this issue so that everybody, every local government area will have a stake. Let me say this first. Lastly, over this. We had also proposed that the deputy governor, some states, I must note this, some states, they don't allow anybody of substance to be a deputy governor so that it will not be a threat to the governor. But Akwa Ibom State, look at the deputy of Pastor Moino, Senator Akone Yarenyi. She's been everything in this world. She's been a commissioner, board chairman, she's been a senator, minister, everything. And she's deputy governor. That kind of capacity cannot just be left to be a spare tire, or there's a boundary matters is under the office of the deputy governor. Please, the deputy governor should be given a ministry that she can bring her wealth of experience to deliver. It will even cut costs. She won't be any additional salary, except allowances for whatever things that are done. So for now, looking at this breakdown that I've given, it is not good enough. The governor said he was going to do it alone. I can assure you that the governor can never do it alone. It's just something that a leader should say to ward off some persons, because he needs to consult. And knowing some persons, they will tell the governor, do it, nothing will happen. So there's an element of impunity which is not in tandem with the aura, with the mien of His Excellency Pastor Moino, with the kind of difference he has brought to governance.
Thank you very much, Citizen.
Yes.
We're about to open the phone lines now, but I cannot, at this point, because in 5 minutes, I really want you to talk to us about the priority areas of this new cabinet, considering the state's developmental challenges and policy directions.
Like I said, thank you for that question. Every ministry should have a master plan, should have a roadmap, should have a timeline. But from immediate past experience, you had ministries that had master plan, including the one that the commissioner was part of the team, but she failed excellently, refused to even listen to voice of reasoning and appeals. You wouldn't even see her in the office. The impunity was top-notch. I'm talking about education sector. Enough that at the point, to crown the failure, we saw the colored water that was served to our children at Presbyterian Secondary School. And the same commissioner had to set up a committee to probe the thing that was under her purview. It's like she trying to probe herself. And that was a child's play. But be that as it may, that was a clear example that you can give somebody a job. Like it is said, nobody does what you expect. They do what you inspect. Give somebody a master plan. The person cannot deliver. Okay, present it to the governor. We are shouting here on radio. Government hears whatever we say. They take note. People are monitoring what we say. But because they don't care, you have somebody that's handling documentation and whatever is called. There's nothing about documentation. What they do is to be doing, call it propaganda, or attacking anybody that says anything that they feel. But when you say something that they know is true, and it is engendering the state, they will never go there. So, sector like education, agriculture, we still buy food from neighboring states, particularly Cross River. But somebody will tell you that we are feeding ourselves. The gari we produce here is what we eat. The
You
yam.
don't say our food production in this state has increased since this administration started.
Not this administration, because there's not much the administration has done yet in the agri sector, apart from the pilot farming sector, the awards or the support grants given to.
I mean, the encouragement for everybody to go back.
No, that's what I'm coming there. Yeah. It's about to yield, and the volume it will yield will not be commensurate with what we should think, because when you look at the previous administration, ask them how much did they put into the agri sector. You'll be amazed at the billions of naira that were sunk in, and they all went down the drain. Some of us are battling on how we are going to generate ideas to recover from the palm, coconut plantation and refinery, the tomatoes, whatever, or whatever else farm, the greenhouse and all of that. The rice mill that we had and farm, which was called Audio, they said no. So, Pastor Moino needs to have square pegs in square holes. Some of the commissioners that have come back had no business coming back, but they are here. Since they are here, we won't say I'm giving up. No, we will do more by engaging them. For instance, look at the Ministry of Economic Development. The agency that is responsible for managing World Bank and donor agencies funding in Nigeria, Akwa Ibom State Agency for Social and Community Development, award-winning. The entire staff have not been paid. It should be about 2 years now. They have not been paid their salaries. They want to convert them to casual staff. People that were employed as contract staff with clear terms. And we have tried to interface with the commissioner. We have done podcast. We have spoken about it. We've written about it. Nothing is done. Okay. And you are dealing with real people, and that commissioner is back.
We have 3 minutes left out of the time, and we've still not gotten priority areas that we should. We're really talking about the problems here. Okay. Now let's talk about the solution. The priority area. It's
the solution I'm looking at. I've started with the solution. You must have the master plan. You must have, or call it roadmap. And you must have timelines. You must have people who are able to measure productivity. Listen, Sharon. Before any other thing I am in this life, I am a productivity advocate and practitioner. There are things I have done without money that some people would never attempt with even 1 billion naira given to them. I have clear evidence to that effect. Wherever anybody is, you must produce results, but it's not happening. So His Excellency has to demand results from every ministry. I use the example of the happy hour. How can the governor say there will be happy hour? And none of his aides was able to think out how the happy hour can be repackaged from drinking. Some of them went to start to opening joints because they were sure that some millions will be coming in every week. It must have people that think. So there must be a situation room. It's not enough that we have, I think, Mr. Johnson that was appointed as the delivery advisor to the governor. I'm sure he's doing something, because like the EXCO ministerial briefing is something that must have come from somewhere. And it is quite good. Put the commissioners on the hot seat and let them be engaged on what they have done. They will sit up. Not those that you write letters, they will not respond. I tell you, I invite some of them to the radio or even write letters, they will never come because they don't have anything to offer. The governor must be intentional. Nobody can be a sacred cow. If people have demystified a government, like some of them said under former Governor Udom Emmanuel, in a meeting that I was, he said, who is Udom to give them directive? Who does he know? Who has he made? What we want is what happens. And they got their way. Listen, there are people who feel that the governor is at their mercy. And truly, the governor is vulnerable, just like the president. So if he wants to please political stakeholders, this administration will have problem, and they will say, it was the Umoino's administration, not any other person's own. So you must demand for productivity. And the governor should be able to have a situation room. Some persons who may never even be known, they don't want appointment. Like what I do, I don't need political appointment. but I can deliver for the governor like I'm delivering without payment. I'm delivering without being requested. And we send letters, and they are there. So what stops a particular office having appraisal of the timelines for delivery for a particular project? What will be the impact? How much is required? And it's done. If it's not done, send the person out. Why should somebody be a commissioner for 20 years or 10 years? Nothing to write home about. Nothing to write home about. You know that people, even this very list, people are not promoted because of service, because of what they have done. They are promoted because they have link to the cabal, because some of them even had said when they left one office that I am not going anywhere, I'm still in the system. And they have emerged. What do you expect from such? You look back at the records that the past office that they held, whether as council chairman or even as commissioner, what were they able to deliver? Nothing. Some of them are in controversies, like some that are even trending is online. I don't want to mention it. Something that will be very embarrassing by the time, like one of the people that have started raising alarm. Governor, you bring this kind of person, don't you know the record and all this and that? You want me to bring this? It's appointments should not be based on political considerations when you want to deliver. Otherwise, Obonwata would never have been able to lay the kind of foundation that other governors are battling to even build upon.
Thank you very much, Citizen. We have just about 13 minutes left before we call it a wrap on the melting point. If you'd like to join in on the discussion, then the phone lines are now open. 0803 085 7755, 0803 085 7755, or 0809 066 6909, 0809 066 6909. If you want to reach out via WhatsApp, the number is 0809 066 6909. And on Facebook, we are streaming live. The handle is Memories965 FM, and we do have some comments there on Facebook. If you'd like to drop a comment, drop it and we'll read it out. We have from Denmark, greetings, Queen of the Airwaves, happy radio day, same to you. Annabelle, Ecuador, happy World Radio Day, same to you. Godwin Eggers, happy radio day, our Queen of the Airwaves and your panelists. The importance of radio can't be overemphasized or stretched. Radio is very pivotal in the societies. On the new EXCO list, it's a political compensation, hence I'm not flabbergasted. Citizen, there are a number of people, a number of Akwa Ibomites that are of the same opinion, because most of the names that are there are not new names.
Yes.
They might, they are not just fresh names from the past and from the last cabinet.
Yes.
Right? But they are not new names.
Yeah.
And so a number of people are thinking towards, it's just, giving them the position to just take it, you have ended.
Let me say.
What do you have to say about that?
It has to do with recycling. I've said so before now that at times I look at Akwa Ibom, I said the way some persons have been recycled, I don't think we are even up to 7 million that we say. Maybe we are not even up to 100,000 people. How can the same crop of people be recycled from some of them? In fact, it's Bongota's era that those people that left actually left. After Bongota's era, from Akpabio's era, some of those people there have been recycled up till now, and you look at their productivity, nothing. Some of them failed the election because they could not perform. And the new wave in Akwa Ibom is that people are given honorary special advisor so that they can be part of the protocol team. From honorary special advisor, like two of them, Mr. Nyeka Nomana, former information commissioner, several terms, and then former House of Reps member, Henry Achibong, former House of Reps member. They are back, and they came in as honorary special advisor. And they are not the only ones. And I will not be shocked if those that have not made it back to the EXCO, all of them may be given honorary special advisor. Why? So that they can be part of the political system, part of the protocol, so that politically they are relevant. We cannot politicize everything and believe we'll ever make it. No. It cannot work that way. So that recycling, not because of productivity, but because of political reasons, is very absurd and will never yield result because some of these people, they have run out of ideas.
So you're saying that Governor Nwano appointed round pegs in square hole?
Some of them definitely, that's what they're going to be, but what will happen, I've given the solution. Engagement. The governor himself has set up that structure, the interface. The citizens, those that will be courageous enough, unfortunately, civil society now, some persons have become government spokespersons, so it becomes very difficult to say, oh, the civil society is there 100%, but for some of us who are willing to tell the truth and not to do propaganda or psychophancy, we will make contribution that will help to shape these people, no matter whose ox is gird. People don't want to say the truth because you will not be able to eat. Everybody has to eat from government. That is the mentality. You can't bring people who could not succeed at what they were given. And because they cannot stay out, because they are politically relevant in their areas. Like I've said, it would be a shocker if some of them are not brought back as honorary special advisor, even as board chairman.
Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning and welcome. Welcome, Bob Kelvin.
Good morning.
Thank you very much. Same to you.
I thank you. I thank you, sir.
Yes, I think that's okay. From Commissioner Income, the government, the Lama, even the government of the Roma, and the Commissioner was in there in order not to create a local government. But I want to see that they should account for what we have been before. For example, the Commissioner of Agriculture, we are the Tagara line, we are the Tagara guys. We are going to have this country recognized and taken up by the state. But the government will not be able to want to get the political document. One of the primary aim of a group bank is to carry out the ambition of the government. But the reason of this is that if you want to intervene the responsibility of the our
Okay. Thank you.
And also, finally, I'm going to say government, I think we should also give it to that nation and look at them and the commissioner that is coming from them. So that they may continue going on the Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Kevin. On Facebook, we have from Midong, Mr. David. Hello, Queen of the Airwaves. Happy Radio Day. Same to you. How I wish people like this, your guest, is incorporated into government. Well, it is a pity. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so, citizen, we have
Yes.
2 minutes left. Let's hear your parting shot based on what Kevin has said. I mean, I saw you not to certain things like he said. So
Yes.
let's hear your thoughts.
I thank all the callers, and then for Kevin, he has just agreed with what we have proposed. Let us have
Let's take this call.
Okay.
Sorry, last call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, morning.
Yeah, good morning. Welcome.
Yeah,
Is who?
yes, yeah, my brother Okona is here. Good morning, sir.
Please, what's the name of where you're calling us from? All right, talk to us. A minute, please.
We are surprised that we have a government that keeps on recycling commissioners and other political appointees. I feel we are going to hear relax human stuff. Whereas, as far as I know, we have had so many people and experienced people have been pushed. And I can recall when our Excellency Mr. White was saying that he will not want interference from anybody. That is why he kept state. So that it will be something that we know by himself and I think it's well also. Now that things have come out this way, and we have actually known that he has so much in place. And more on it, we can see that this is the victim of the previous government. Because the previous government has so much interest on this government that even the governor himself referring to the former governor as a political man. Whereas, it is the people of Akwa that should be political masters.
All right, thank you very much. We have to go now. Thank you very much, Prince.
So if we run, when we recycle people, and rather than bringing in more to run the government.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning and welcome. You have 30 seconds.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning and welcome.
Yes, thank you people for saying this.
Oh, I didn't get your name.
My name is Adele.
All right, talk to us.
Thank you for the truth that is not
Thank you, sir.
because I'm talking about the new commissioner. Because some people are coming from coming back from House of Representatives to become a commissioner in Akwa State. That means that somebody who come from a Senate president become a governor again in this state. Please, let us go do something about this thing. Please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Senate President has already said those
It's a pointer.
30 seconds.
Yeah, I can't fail to mention something somebody said. It's something that is good. I will mention his name. His name is Dr. Tom Mekerendru. We spoke yesterday when we were looking at the EXCO list, and he told me that it is time to make a covenant with the Akwa Ibom people for selfless service, not self-aggrandizement. Whoever has come on board, it does not matter. What matters is to compel them to produce results, and they cannot do that without a covenant. So it's not just about our talking. We are Christians. Some come with religious slogans, but what they do is terribly, like the previous one, very terribly far from anything Christ-like or being God-centric.
Right.
We must have the covenant to deliver, and we must be able to carry everybody along, not in terms of appointment, please. We can never give every citizen a political appointment. People have become so lazy and unproductive because they are just sure they will get money at month end. Before month end, they are even looting from wherever, and before you know it, they become so aggressive to be able to remain there. Okay. No society can ever make progress like that. But let us jointly ensure that the new cabinet, those that are going to be cleared, and those that are going to be added to it are productive. Otherwise, the administration will end as being what was never expected, and nobody will have excuse.
Thank you very much, Citizen.
My pleasure.
Another insightful conversation. Thank you very much. We have come to the end of the Melting Point, the last edition for the week. Thank you very much for listening. My name is Sharon Mando. Coming up next is Uyo Ido. Thank you once again, Citizen.